In patriarchy, violence against women is not accidental. Rather, violence against women and girls is structural. It is systemic and part of the system. Patriarchy cannot function without violence, just as caste, class, and race systems cannot function without violence. To impose an unjust system on people, you need violence or the threat of violence. For example, I have never been raped, but I have never been without the fear of rape. This fear keeps people subjugated. If some women are raped regularly, most others will control themselves or they will be controlled by their families. According to philosopher Mary Daly, the rulers of patriarchy or males with power wage an increasing war against life itself. War not just against women, against life itself. For Daly, the custom of widow burning in India, the Chinese ritual of foot binding, the genital mutilation of young girls in Africa, the massacre of women as witches in Renaissance Europe, gynocide or female killing under the guise of American gynecology and psychotherapy are all examples of female hating and violence against women. And these are practiced in different cultures of the world. According to the United Nations, 1 out of every 3 women experiences violence in the world. There are over 7 billion people all over the world, and 3.5 billion are women. If 1 out of 3 is subjected to violence, more than 1 billion women and girls across the world are experiencing violence. And the saddest part of it is that most of this violence takes place within the families or in intimate relationships. Our own families inflict violence of all kinds on us: marital rape, date rape, campus rape is done by people known to us or even people close to us. We say, who needs enemies when our own families and dear ones oppress us? Here I want to ask you some questions to reflect on. Please note your responses in your notepads. Here is another important question I wish to ask. Do you think all men as men benefit from patriarchy? Please give me your answer. You are close if you have chosen C as the answer. So the answer is yes and no, both. When I say yes, I mean all men, whether they want it or not, enjoy certain privileges just because they are men. For example, in many patriarchal societies, boys receive more attention, better nutrition, more educational facilities, and more leisure than their sisters only because they are born male. They have more mobility, more resources, more choices, and more freedom. As men, they are not dogged by the fear of aggression and harassment on roads. Even working class men who are powerless vis-a-vis the bourgeois men have power over their own women. They benefit from all the work women do at home. This is similar to the privileges of higher caste person automatically has because of his caste. However, a deeper look at patriarchy shows us that it has a dual effect on boys and men. It does give men privileges and power, but at the same time, it stereotypes boys and men also, puts them into boxes, and prescribes strict attitudes and behavior patterns on them. For example, boys are not allowed to cry, to express their emotions, or to be gentle and caring. They are not allowed to say they are afraid of the dark, or they do not like physical fights with other boys. Someone has called this emotional castration of boys and men. They are not given the opportunity to feel and express their emotions. Boys and men have to become breadwinners. For example, a boy may want to be a poet, a dancer, or a musician, but he may be forced to learn his father's occupation, his business, and earn money. The peer pressure on boys pushes them to smoke, drink, or take drugs. If boys refuse to indulge in these, they are made fun of. In this system, men who are gentle and non aggressive are constantly harassed. They are called sissy and effeminate. Those who cooperate with their wives are called henpecked husbands. I know a man who was forever subjected to ridicule because he was training to be a classical Indian dancer and who loved to sew and knit. He was considered too feminine and not fit enough to be a real man. Friends, men are not biologically violent. If men were born violent, there would be no gentle, compassionate, caring men. But there are such men, aren't there? Boys and men are made aggressive, domineering, and violent by patriarchy. I believe men are being dehumanized and brutalized by patriarchal upbringing. However, the good news is that today, in many countries of the world, men have realized this and they have started thinking about it. But such dehumanization and such stereotyping of men cannot be compared in any way to what women suffer in patriarchy. If we did that, it would be like saying that the exploitation and oppression of the blacks is similar to that what the whites suffer, or a landlord suffers as much as a landless slave of his. There's no comparison, but still bad enough.